wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Former NFL tight end. He played for the Giants at one time. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Waller. Good morning.
Good morning, man.
How you feeling?
I'm great, man. Blessed to be here.
Good.
Happy to see you, brother. For folks that don't know, explain who is Darren Waller, because you got a very interesting story.
Man, Darren Waller, that's something I'm still trying to figure out, man.
Oh, I like that answer.
Who I am, you know what I'm saying? I don't got a concrete answer. I'm somebody that's like I'm a creator. I've been an athlete, but there's a lot of things that I want to do, a lot of things that I want to try, and just continue to go on this journey.
Mm-hmm. Now, you started off, how'd you get into the NFL? For people that don't know, was it the usual way that most athletes do? So how did you get into the NFL? Break down your story a little bit.
From the beginning, started playing football when I was 4. My parents just kind of threw me in, seeing what I wanted to do, and it was just a natural love for the game, but I wasn't really that highly recruited out of high school. Wasn't that really known in college. Got in trouble a lot. And
what school did you go to? What college?
Georgia Tech.
Okay.
I'm from Atlanta, so snuck into the late rounds of the draft, 6 rounds. I had a lot of character red flags at the time. And from there, started with Baltimore, then moved to the Raiders, where I spent most of my career, and then spent the last year with the Giants.
Did you know you had character red flags? Like, because self-awareness is something a lot of people don't develop till later when they start doing internal work on themselves. But Did you know you had character red flags, or did they tell you had them?
At the time, I didn't believe I did. I was putting the blame on everybody else. And I was resentful at everybody else and thinking it was other people's fault, that why I was doing the things I was doing, they didn't understand why I needed to do drugs and drink and shit like that. So at the time, I did not have that awareness, no.
I read that you went from drug addiction to grocery store clerk to NFL star.
Yeah, so I went to rehab September of 2017, and right after I got sober, when I got back home, I moved in with my parents again, and I was like, all right, I got to get a job, got to get some structure to kind of get my life back in order. And a dude that went to church with my parents worked at Sprouts, and I just got a job there working grocery clerk, making the aisles look nice, getting orders from the back stock in the back. And I was there for probably like 7 months till I was like, all right, I kind of got my P's and Q's going for these drug tests and everything. I could get a chance to be reinstated into the league. So I started training again, and things just kind of went up from there.
You said something that I want to expound on. You said, you didn't know what led you to drugs, or people didn't know what led you to drugs.
Yeah.
What did lead you to drugs?
Just a lot of wounds from when I was younger, man. Just like feeling like I wasn't enough, feeling like I always had to overcompensate to please people or to look tough or have this, tough exterior as a man and prove myself. And it was just a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety, and just wanted to change the way I felt. I just wanted to have some peace in my life, and I felt like that those kind of things brought that peace, but it was kind of a counterfeit at the time. It worked for a bit, but in the end, it ends up turning on you, and all those problems you think you're getting rid of by using are still there when you wake up the next day, when you come down from that high, like it's still waiting on you to deal with. And I was just putting stuff under the rug. But yeah, that's kind of why I kind of got into that lifestyle.
You didn't have nobody to talk to when you was younger, like your parents? Or
I realize now how many people really wanted to help me and really wanted to be there for me, but I don't know why I felt like there were such huge walls between me and everybody else in my life that it was just, and as men, like I kind of grew up in that era where it was like, rub some dirt on it. Don't really show your feelings. We don't cry. We
absolutely,
we pick ourselves up by the bootstraps and keep it moving. And I'm a product of that type of mindset not really working.
Now, what was so bad growing up as a kid? Like, what was the bruises that you discuss of?
So the funny thing is, it wasn't anything like external environment. I grew up in a nice neighborhood, had everything I ever wanted from my family, but it was more so like fitting in with the people around me, like around like people of my skin color. It was like I wasn't black enough, and around white people, it was like, oh, you're not really one of us, but you kind of are one of us. And I was like one of the only black kids that were in like the advanced classes at my school. So I was like, I don't feel black enough, but I'm the only black kid in these classes. When I was on the team with the athletes and stuff, I always felt like a nerd. So it was like these environments where I was like, damn, I don't feel like I fit in, or I can just show up as myself in these environments. I always got to put this mask on or be somebody different.
Is it because you biracial? Or?
That was going to ask the same question.
Nah, my dad's just really light skinned. I think I got to do like an ancestry or something. I don't really know.
Oh, got you.
As far as I know, I'm just black.
So you black?
Yeah.
Really? So I wonder why they thought you couldn't say nigga no more.
This guy's crazy.
Why did they?
That's crazy. So you know, I hear that story a lot, and it's usually
Why you had to say it? Because you light skin too?
Nah, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
So usually when you leave your neighborhood growing up, you move into like your parents might have moved into a white neighborhood, right, with a better school education. But now you're the only black family, or very few of you in that situation. So it happened with my daughter as well, because when she went to the school, she felt like there was nobody there for her, right? She felt like all the white girls would get all of the attention because it was white boys. She felt confused. She felt not wanted. She was growing up with a lot of problems. Did you have that same situation, the same feeling?
Yeah, that explains a lot of the environment that I was growing up in. The first friends I made, like in my neighborhood growing up, were white, and you know, a lot of dudes at my school, and it was just because they was outside playing ball, like riding bikes, like just doing stuff I like to do, and you know, kind of getting, you know, jokes made because of those type of things. And it's like, all right, damn, like I gotta like find a way. And growing up in the South, you know what I'm saying, football is like religion down there, and I was like, okay, I'm good at this. This is gonna get me the acceptance that I've always wanted.
And does that still bother you now? I was gonna say, do you still have those feelings now, fitting in those situations now, or?
I'm a lot more comfortable in my skin now. I still have thoughts of like, all right, like I need to be successful and attribute that to my worth in some ways, but it's a lot less present in my everyday thinking than it was back then.
It's so interesting to hear you had this conversation because, like you said, you're from Atlanta. You don't hear this about black people in Atlanta. Black people in Atlanta is like the total opposite. They grew up around a bunch of black people, black affluent people, black people in positions of power, elected officials, police officers, everything. So it's just like, wow.
They're from Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I say I'm from Ackworth, Georgia. It's 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. So for people that's really from Atlanta in the inner city, I'm not from the inner city, but I'm from that area.
Got you.
Now, recently you decided to retire from the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, you know,
you're only 31, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody says you physically that you are still a beast, that you should not retire. But, you know, one of the, you know, top tight ends in the league. What was the decision to say, you know what, I'm no longer want to do this?
At the end of the day, I feel like you got to evaluate your commitment level for the entire process. You know, there's certain things where it's like I can look at it and be like, yeah, the results of what could be, the yards, the, you know, successful seasons, like they would look great and they would feel great. But as far as going through the whole process, putting all the work in, going through the entire season, it's like I got to be willing to put forth that commitment level for teammates, for the organization. And I don't feel like I can be able to do that anymore at this point in my life. I feel like that passion has kind of passed on. There's other things that I want to spend my time doing.
And you said you had a near-death experience. I read an article that said that.
Yeah, this past year, it was weird, man. I was going to, we actually shot a video, me and my boy A-Rod, and I was coming back to my condo in Jersey, and I felt a fever coming on, and I had COVID 2 times before that, and I was like, I feel like I'm just have COVID, got to sweat it out and just thug it. But I started to like lose consciousness, and like I was like fighting for my breath when I got back to my condo, and I called 911, and they finally made out what I was trying to say because I guess I wasn't speaking clear enough. And I was just fighting for my breath till the paramedics showed up. I think I kind of like passed out before they got there, and then they woke me up, and I had like an oxygen mask on. They took me into the hospital. I was in there for 3 days, couldn't go to the bathroom on my own, couldn't stand up. Like I had like a viral infection in my lungs or something. So that was pretty wild. It made me kind of think and reflect and be like, all right, like what am I doing with my life? Am I really doing what I want to do? And at that time, I didn't feel like I was really doing that. I feel like I was doing things because I feel like I should be doing them.
So it was a viral infection that caused it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So you didn't think football was your purpose. Like it's hard to do anything if you don't feel like this is your purpose. Yeah. So you felt like you had to go find your actual purpose.
Yeah, I feel like in a way, football did serve a purpose. It did give me the ability to, you know, find my voice, to share through like my pain and my struggle to help other people through theirs. And it also showed me that through hard work and patience and just staying with the process, I can be excellent at whatever I want to do, because people were not checking for me for a long period of time in football. But, you know, just by sticking with the process, I was able to make a name for myself and be successful. So I feel like I could carry those principles to whatever I want to do. How
did the people around you feel about your decision to retire? Because, you know, the NFL is not easy to get into. And not even just your family, but the organization. I'm sure people are trying to stop you from.
Yeah, I get it from people with the team, and you know, just people that love the game, like, and respect the way that I play. They're like, man, you can't retire, like you can't do this. But you know, the people that are close to me and you know, see what all that I've given to the game, all that I've worked and just like poured everything I had, they support me. Now
I see you since retiring, you've been fiddling a lot with music. Is that where you want to go next? You want to be a musician, an artist, or?
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a journey for me there. You know, my great-grandfather was a legendary jazz musician, and I loved music as a kid, playing piano, being in band, and I'm just kind of circling back to those things I loved as a kid, and just really want to go that route. I feel something like, in a way, like spiritually pulling me in that direction. And so, I don't have any expectations with it for real, but I believe in myself and the growth that I'm having as an artist with the stuff I'm gonna be putting out. So something I want to definitely devote time to, among a lot of other things.
I feel like you are looking for peace.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're at. You want to do things that bring you peace.
Yeah.
If it don't make you happy, you don't want to do it.
Yeah, man, because it's like, it's like a Jim Carrey quote out there. He was like, I wish people could get everything they ever wanted to realize it's not what's going to give them that sense of fulfillment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're doing things, pertaining to somebody else's dream of success. Because I was like, okay, football, like, bam, I get this money. I have this longevity. Like, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be fulfilled. And it's still like, I make it happen. And it's still kind of like, I feel like there's still got to be more out there for me, So it's got to be something that's authentically aligned with me. And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Is that why you got the Serenity tattoo?
Yeah, man. Since getting sober, like, Serenity prayer is like a big tool.
That's right.
As far as like going through my day, because there's a lot of things that you got to accept things as they are.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah, you wear yourself out trying to change things that you can't, man. So it's something that I try to carry to everything I do.
Now you talk about peace. So what gives Darren Waller peace? Like what puts you in your happy place if it's not football anymore?
I would say being in nature, man. As a kid growing up in Atlanta, it wasn't really no mountains around. You got like Kennesaw Mountain and Stone Mountain. They really just like hills though. But going out to a place like Vegas and going to places like Utah, Colorado, like being in nature, like those things really, I feel like get me closer to God than anything else. Making music as well, just being in the process of that, writing, creating, coming up with ideas. Being around my family more, I feel like just with the grind that I've had through the game, like I feel like I've missed out on a lot. Like for the 4th, I'll be going to my first family function with all the extended family since before I got sober. That was almost 7 years ago, because it's always when I'm training or getting ready for training camp. So
you ready for that though? Because it's gonna be a bunch of, oh man, why you retiring, man? What's up, man?
Yeah, man, but it's
you
just
still give me tickets.
Yeah, it's a lot of that, but yeah, it's just like getting people to see me as I am now. Like football is always gonna be a part of me. It has been a major part, but there's more to my story. I still got, God willing, 60 more years to live. So there's more chapters to be told.
I want you to go back to the nature part because, I write books. So in my new book, which is called Get Honest or Die Lying, I have a chapter called Tree Hug the Block. And it's literally about how we need to get reconnected to nature. Because I grew up in South Carolina. I'm from the South. So I grew up running around on the dirt road, running through the cornfield, running through the woods, actually looking up at the sun, walking around barefoot. So I was doing grounding and earthing because before I even knew what that was. So talk about just that connection to nature and how important that is for your mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah, man. For me, just being outside, being in nature is something that it allows me to see like where I stand, like in the grand scheme of things. Like being around like mountains and things like that. It's like I'm in awe of God's creation, realizing like I'm a part of this world. Like I have something to give, but at the same time, like not taking myself so seriously. But yeah, also being in nature, it's like I feel like that's what our ancestors did. That's what we all did. Like, and just being out there, just getting outside of yourself, just being able to enjoy the beauty of the world around you. I feel like it can affect your mindset and help you live with more gratitude.
Is that where you were when you decided to retire?
Yeah. So the week before I made my decision, we actually hit all the national parks in Utah for 5 days. We just hopped in the RV, us and a couple other homies, and we just went for it. And it's like, we a lot of folks ain't really doing that, especially like where we come from, people that look like us. So, we just trying to do things that that's new. You know what I'm saying?
Were you high or anything? Like, I didn't mean to say high, like drugs, but like, you don't smoke weed or nothing, do you?
Nah, I smoke. Okay. I like smoking cigars, but that's pretty much it now.
So you just was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna retire. You just turned to your man and say, I think I'm gonna retire.
It wasn't like a decision that just hit me at that moment. It was something that was being, considered over that time. But as I was out there, it was like, yeah, that was kind of the stamp. I feel like I've given this all I have to give as far as me wanting to play the game. I feel like the only thing that would bring me back was wanting to impress other people. You've
made a lot of, real big life choices lately, right? Yeah. You retired from the NFL, and then you got married last year to Kelsey Plum, star Las Vegas Aces point guard, but then you filed for divorce a year later.
Right.
What happened?
Man, that's you talk about get honest or die lying. You kind of got to look at yourself and realize, like, all right, like, what role am I playing that all the relationships in my life have always had the same patterns? And it kind of plays into everything else I was mentioning earlier, like the codependency aspect of like, anytime I'm in a relationship, I feel like I gotta, dance or do a certain thing for to keep this person around, almost like tying my self-worth to the success of a relationship, and you realize how much you lose yourself in doing the things that you love and things that take care of you on a daily basis, making this person kind of like the center of your universe, and how unhealthy that is for everybody involved, you know what I'm saying? So realizing the impact that it was having on me, and as far as making decisions that were authentic for the life that I wanted, these are things that I couldn't say 100% yes to. You have certain conversations and realize there's so much life ahead of both of us. Might as well just go ahead and live it and move on with no type of hostility. You
didn't think that like before marriage, like before you proposed and before you got married, like you didn't have that conversation with yourself?
Yeah, I like to think that I did, but there's certain situations like kind of like I said earlier where I didn't really have that self-awareness. That spreads into other areas of my life as well, where I'm like, okay, I thought I was ready to have a commitment like that and be involved, but really it's like there's a part of me that's like, okay, like the pursuit, the chase, the building of it seemed more appealing than when things get extremely difficult and the same patterns continue to come out, and it's like, bro, at the end of the day you got to heal, bro, or the same things are going to continue to happen.
I saw Will Smith say recently, he said it's impossible to make somebody else happy.
Yeah.
He said you have to have happiness,
right?
She has to have happiness,
right?
And then y'all come together.
Exactly.
Is that what it was, you think?
Absolutely, man.
Okay.
I feel like in a way there was a reliance of me on the relationship to give me something that, of course, I needed to come to the table without that extra baggage and with that healing already in place, and I didn't.
What was harder to do, retire from the NFL or get a divorce?
I think both, man. Both are difficult. 'Cause, both are, a part of who I am, things that, meant a lot to me at the time, and to have them both happen at the same time, it's like, a lot of emotions you got to process, a lot of talking, a lot of writing, a lot of time being spent reflecting and being by yourself, and that's real life stuff, man, because I've had a lot of success, a lot of great moments in my life, but this year has been one that has really forced me to look in the mirror and dig deep into express myself in ways that are healthy and just really get to, who is Darren Waller at the core without all these things that I try to reach for fulfillment or validation.
And it was a mutual thing, or like it was you saying I want to leave or her saying she want to leave?
It was conversations had toward the end where it was mutual.
Got you.
Yeah. Now you did a song called Who Knew?
Yeah.
Now that was in dedication to the situation and relationship?
So I had an idea as we were winding down and separating that I was like, okay, like I keep finding myself in these positions, these same patterns, and I had this idea of like if the girl that I was in a relationship with, because like, I mean, you can look at her and say like she's the public one that people can know that I was with, but that's the same pattern of a lot of relationships that I've been in. It's like if they had the pen and would write me a song, what would they say? And so it's like, you're taking a risk making a song like that. It's very, very vulnerable, very different than anything I've ever made before. But I try to make stuff that's authentic to me, where I'm at, and just put myself out there, take risks.
Did she hear the song? What was her thoughts on the song? Did y'all speak after? Or?
Nah, that was after. Ain't really been no discussion.
So y'all don't speak at all? Y'all don't communicate or have conversations at all? It's the rap.
Yep.
I mean, you say in the song, why you want to run away? Why can't you just stay? So was it something you was trying to keep together?
So it's really, the song is like her perspective. So it's from the perspective of the woman that's been in a relationship with me. So she's like, why do you keep running? Like really speaking to me.
I love this perspective, man, because men a lot of times don't take accountability for our bullshit.
Yeah.
And we try to project and put it on the other person.
Yeah.
So for you to be like, no, it ain't you, it's me.
Right.
Sometimes a lot of dudes say that just when they really want to be out here doing some BS. But you really knew you had to go do the internal work.
Yeah. It's a lot of work on my behalf for me to try to look at somebody else and focus on them when there's plenty of stuff on my side of the street that I got to clean up. That's not what men do. That's not the example that we trying to set. So I'm out here trying to do better, just like everybody else is.
Was it therapeutic to do that record?
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a good way to express myself and to, have empathy not only for her, but everybody that I've been in a relationship with, and to honor them as I go forward and try to change my ways, change my thinking, and heal myself. You
think you'll be ready for a relationship? Like the more internal work you're doing, do you think you'll be ready for a relationship in the future?
I believe so, yeah, if that's what God has in the cards for me, but it's definitely going to take a lot more patience than I've had before. and moving slowly, because a lot of times I feel like I want to move fast. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an addict. I got that thinking. It's like, I want what I want now, and I want things to happen quickly. And those kind of thought processes got to change, and I believe that they will. And in time, whenever that is. But like I said, I got a lot of things I want to figure out for myself, and it'll happen when it's supposed to.
This is my last question about that. But what do you say to people, especially a lot of guys who be like, "Damn, Darren, you fumbled Kelsey," because they like Kelsey, they think Kelsey's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you fumbled her?
Not really, man. In a lot of ways, I feel like, man, was that even really for me to pick up in the first place? Because as approaching a relationship and wanting to speed through things and make a connection happen quickly with some of the things I talked about earlier, it's like you look at it and it's like, like, was that even for me? So you can talk about fumbling or whatever. That's not really anything that I try to think about. I
never thought about that in terms of relationships with people. Like if you have an addiction, right? If you're an addict, right? So you said you want what you want and you want it now, so you can kind of like trauma bond with a lot of people and not even realize
exactly, not even be aware of that shit.
Yeah,
crazy.
Damn.
I do want to ask about the NFL. I do see sometimes players in the NFL that play sports get addicted to things easier. And I was going to ask, is that to take away the pain? Is that to take away the feeling, the trauma, the hurt, the crowd, the fan? Is that why you feel like some of that addiction came from?
Yeah, so like mine started really early, but if you're talking like in the general population of guys in the league, there's an insane amount of pressure on you on a day in, day out, just to perform at your job, or somebody's going to take your place. People are going to talk crazy about you if you're on the internet. And so people just want that relief, you know what I'm saying? Like I never set out, none of these guys ever set out to be addicts or to be people that abuse substances, but they're just like, man, I just want to change the way that I feel, give myself some sense of peace when I get home, because it's a stressful day, it's a stressful career, and I just want some relief. So that's where I feel like guys kind of get started down that path without even having bad intentions, you know what I'm saying?
Does the league try to help the players when they're going through things? Because, I mean, it has to be difficult. Like you said, the pressure, I mean, the pain, to play through it. Do they offer services to help players, or not too much or a lot?
Yeah, they offer services. Like the teams that will offer like pain management, like you got massages, you got needles. You got
I'm talking about mentally.
But yeah, they have they got team counselors, like team clinicians that are available for guys. Some guys use them, some guys don't. But there's a lot of guys that are leaning more towards having therapists outside of the building, so they can kind of just like cut that tie from having it with the team. Like even when I went to rehab, like the league paid for it. There was like a guy that was like a case manager for me who was calling my phone, blowing my phone up, just like seeing how I was doing, what I needed. So they definitely really helped me. And I feel like whenever guys are like willing to like, okay, like I want to help myself, then they can take advantage of the resources at hand.
Is the reason they don't want to use the team counselor because they don't trust them? Like I don't want to share too much information with them because they might take it back to the team.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys that feel that way of like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to go back to the team. And the team says like that's not going to happen. But, it's like, as men, it's like, especially in this hyper-masculine environment of football, it's like if I show any sign of weakness, other teams, people across from me are going to try to take advantage of that. I don't feel safe to share that here. And, that's a legit emotion.
What's been the most effective healing tool for you?
Man, it's hard to pick one, man. I would say meditation played a huge role for me. Just because, making that a daily part of my routine, it kind of gives me like a space and like a pause when it comes to moments where it's time to make decisions. In my day-to-day life, a lot of times where I would make bad decisions, it was kind of like I was just reacting to things super fast, whereas meditation kind of gives you that pause to allow you to be like, okay, like, let me take a deep breath. Is this really what I want to do? And like it gives you an opportunity to evaluate your decisions more. So I feel like that's something that definitely gave me a jump to start along with other things. But that was probably one of the first ones. Learning that, it was just like, wow, like I really have a chance to sit here and not just have the world just have me blowing about in the wind and the storms that come on a day to day. Like I can actually like stand firm and make decisions I want to make.
I'm trying to figure out like when you made these decisions, whether it was to retire from the NFL or get a divorce, had you already started your healing journey? And that's when you started, I guess, peeling back those layers when you realized, you know what, I need to move on from these things? Or was it before? Did you get rid of those things, then start your healing journey? Or?
The healing journey was kind of going all along, and you kind of realize like getting sober from drugs and alcohol was really just the beginning of that journey. But in ways, I thought like that was like the completion, because it was like those were my problems. Like, oh, he drinks too much, does a lot of drugs. Like, okay, I changed that, but like there's still like this feeling of uneasiness and like things that I'm reaching for to make me feel better. And so that journey is always going on, has always been going on the last 7 years, and just new unfoldings of that, new things that I learned from like, oh wow, from my childhood, like that's why I am the way that I am. That's why I seek worth out of relationships or from pleasing other people. Like, it's connecting all those dots now, and it's like, okay, it's starting to make sense. And now it's like, all right, I actually have the courage now to make decisions for me, and knowing that I'm trying to be a better man in the process of making them.
So you have that feeling of self-worth that you've been looking for now?
Yeah, it's growing, man. I can honestly say it's growing. And whereas before it was like non-existent, and this is like, I'm one of the best players at my position in the league, and still, trying to find that. Like, there was a vivid memory I had of like a 200-yard game in 2020, and the Wednesday practice after that, I'm lining up for routes on air. There ain't even no defense out there, and I'm like, all right, like, don't drop this pass in my mind, when really like I just did something like only 5 other people in my position have ever done in the history of the league. So it's been a lifelong thing, man, and I could finally say it's starting to grow. And sometimes it takes making courageous decisions and standing up on something that a lot of people may not agree with, and but that's the way.
What about your foundation, the Darren Waller Foundation?
Yeah, man, that's a decision that like I talked about, the league giving me opportunity to go to treatment for free, and it's like through getting sober, I kind of realized like my world is a lot better, a lot more full when it's just bigger than me. I'm doing a lot, being able to do things for other people, and so through my foundation, we are able to give people scholarships to go to treatment for 30 days, and also have like sober living opportunities, just opportunities to get back on their feet. And we've sent like 60 people through 30-day stays, and that number is continuing to go up, continuing to build resources in the Vegas community, just trying to give people opportunity, because I mean, I didn't know that I'd be able to have the impact that I've been able to have in my life back when I was kind of stuck in that hole. And all you gotta do is impact one person, because through me being impacted, a lot of other people will be able to be helped. So it's just like giving that person a chance.
So you still live in Vegas?
Yeah, I still live in Vegas.
Is that hard, being that your ex-wife plays there? Like, you probably got to see posters and stuff of her all the time. Like,
no, man, it's not anything of wishing any type of ill will or any type of resentment. Like, I want her to be great. I want her to be happy. I want her to be at peace and feel fulfilled in her life, just like anybody else, And I have a lot of great connections in Vegas, people that I've met and formed friendships with that are there for me. That community's been there for me, and I've done a lot in that community, so I feel like that's somewhere I want to be for a little while.
Do you love yourself?
I do love myself.
Okay. Like, I mean, like, did you just get to that place, or you've always?
Oh yeah, it's relatively new for sure.
Right.
It's taken like struggles and seeing myself like really as I am with all the good, all the bad, like whatever you want to call it. But it's like I can look at myself now, and it's like there is no more voice inside of me that wants to beat me down. It's one that wants to build me up and encourage myself, because it's like, yeah, maybe walking paths now that a lot of people may look at me like I'm crazy, like my life has fallen apart in a way. But it's funny and ironic how when it looks like things are falling apart for me, it feels like things are coming together. So that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, the only reason I ask that is because your first, last, and best love is self-love. So it's like, until you get that self-love, you can't love anything else or anybody else.
That's a fact.
Football, a wife, nothing. So that's why I asked that question.
For sure.
What did you think? And I knew I said it was going to be the last question, but when you saw her statement about, I'm devastated, I walked through fire for that man, but now I see it's time to go. And she said, one day I'm going to share my story. Today is not that day. What did you think of that whole statement?
I feel like she has every right to express herself in whichever way that she chooses. Because like I said, I know I was never perfect, and some of the reasons that motivated me to leave, they caused harm, they hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I respect whatever way she wants to express herself. I'm out here trying to improve, and by no means claiming to be a victim in any way. So I'm all good with it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Darren Waller, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to ask one. Do you believe there's a script that owners and refs are a part of that affects the outcome of games? Because that's been a thing that we've been hearing. And you're retired now. I don't know if you plan to go back, but feel free to spill any secrets that you know. Is there a script?
Keep in mind, he's a Cowboys fan. Just want to throw that out there.
I don't believe in the script because I believe if there was a script, Cowboys would have been Super Bowl champions at least 3 or 4 times over the last.
Yeah, the
20+
Cowboys
years.
are way too talented to not have won one yet, in my opinion.
And make too much money. Forget the talent. I'm just saying, if there was a script, you don't think Jerry Jones would pay to win a Super Bowl?
I don't know, man. I don't know of any script. If I had a script, man, I would have had one that had me at least win one playoff game in my career.
Damn.
But yeah, I don't know of any script.
And now, out of the 3 teams you played for, the Ravens, Raiders, and Giants, which was the best organization for you?
Man, in a way, they all were, to be honest. The Ravens taught me, being with the Ravens taught me a lot of hard lessons. Really forced me to grow up in a lot of ways. And, that last year being there on the practice squad, it gave me the tools and the work ethic to be able to sustain the level of success that I did once I got it. So I'm grateful for that. But the Raiders had all the great memories, man, like the great seasons, just like the guys that I formed relationships with, coaches that I had.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fun ride. But, I mean, I had a blast with the Giants this last year too, man. Like all the coaches and the guys in that locker room, man, I had a great time, man. My decision to retire had nothing to do with my time there. I had a great time with them and wish them nothing but the best. But if I had to pick one, it'd probably be the Raiders for sure. I mean, that's where my career took off. My life changed. I was able to do things for my family, for the community, through just having a chance that they gave me. So.
And you know you're completely done with football? Like you just Really?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Wow. You're not gonna miss nothing about the game, or?
Oh no, that the game is always going to be something I hold in high regard and love, and I'll miss that locker room environment. You know what I'm saying? Being in there with those guys and just cutting up, man. Just and walking through the struggles together, because it's like you might go out there and get your ass whooped on a Sunday, but those moments where you're in there picking guys up in the locker room and standing firm when a lot of people may be pointing fingers and doing that, but as men, you kind of lock arms and walk through life. Like those are cool moments, man. Those are moments that a lot of people don't get to experience. So I'll definitely miss those. I'll miss playing. You get a rush from making a big play, making a difference in the game. But I can get that feeling in a lot of other ways now, and just ready to move on.
We'll see when the season starts. We'll see when you're sitting at home watching on Sunday if you get that itch.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's what I don't believe. I don't believe a person's truly retired until they can watch it and be like, okay, I'm good.
For sure.
All right. Well, it's Darren Waller. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Thank you.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.